This is not simply a story about two countries that dislike each other. This is a story about decades of revenge, assassinations, sanctions, proxy wars, nuclear fears, military threats, cyber warfare, and a confrontation that many experts have repeatedly warned that could spiral into one of the most dangerous conflicts of the modern era. The goal of this documentary should be to answer one question. How did the United States and Iran become enemies? And how close have they really come to war? For decades, the United States and Iran have been locked in a dangerous standoff. Every few years, the world hears the same warning. War could be days away. Military commanders issue threats. Missiles are launched. Nuclear facilities become targets. Oil prices surge. Diplomats scramble. And millions of people wonder whether the next strike could ignite a conflict that drags the entire Middle East into chaos. But how did two nations that once worked together become bitter enemies? And just how close have they come to all-out war? Many younger viewers do not realize that the United States and Iran were once allies. During the reign of the Shah of Iran, Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, relations between Washington and Tehran were extremely close. America viewed Iran as a strategic partner. Iran purchased American weapons. American companies invested in Iran. The Shah was considered one of Washington's most important allies in the Middle East. But beneath the surface, many Iranians believed foreign powers were controlling their country's future. The roots of today's conflict stretch back decades. A major turning point occurred in 1953. In 1953, Iran's Prime Minister Mohammad Mossadegh moved to nationalize Iran's oil industry. Many Western powers feared losing access to Iranian oil. A covert operation backed by America and British intelligence helped remove Mossadegh from power. The Shah returned with stronger authority. For many Americans, this became just another Cold War operation. For many Iranians, it became proof that foreign powers were interfering in their sovereignty. The memory of 1953 remains deeply influential inside Iran today. Many Iranian leaders still reference it when discussing relations with Washington. This event planted seeds of distrust that would grow for decades. In the late 1970s, the opposition to the Shah exploded. Economic problems, political repression, growing anger toward Western influence, mass demonstrations swept through Iran. In 1979, the Shah fled. Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini returned from exile. The Islamic Republic of Iran was born. The revolution completely transformed Iran's relationship with America. What had been a close alliance suddenly became intense hostility. Iran's new leadership viewed the United States as a dangerous foreign power. The United States viewed the new revolutionary government as unpredictable and hostile. The situation was about to become even more worse. One of the most important events in the modern US-Iran relations occurred in November 1979. Iranian students stormed the American embassy in Tehran. Dozens of Americans were taken hostage. The crisis lasted 444 days. Television networks covered it constantly. Americans watched every development. The hostage crisis humiliated the United States and destroyed any remaining trust between the two countries. For many Americans, this became the defining image of Iran. For many Iranians, it was seen as resistance against foreign interference. The relationship entered a new era of hostility. In 1980, Saddam Hussein's Iraq invaded Iran. The war became one of the deadliest conflicts of the 20th century. Hundreds of thousands died. Entire cities were devastated. Chemical weapons were used. The conflict lasted 8 years. The United States generally viewed Iraq as a counterweight to revolutionary Iran. This further deepened Iranian suspicion of Washington. The war also transformed Iran's military thinking. Iranian leaders concluded they could never depend on foreign powers for security. They began investing heavily in missiles, unconventional warfare, and regional influence. These decisions still shape the Middle East today. Unable to compete directly with American military power, Iran developed a different strategy. Instead of relying solely on conventional armies, Iran built relationships with armed groups across the region. These groups became part of what many analysts call Iran's axis of resistance. This network includes allies and partners in countries such as Lebanon, Iraq, Syria, Yemen, Palestinian territories. Iran believes these relationships provided strategic depth. Critics argued they destabilized the region. Supporters claimed they deterred foreign attacks. Regardless of perspectives, these groups became a major source of tension with the United States and its allies. Perhaps no issue has generated more fear than Iran's nuclear program. Iran insists its nuclear activities are peaceful. Many Western governments have expressed concern that Iran could eventually develop nuclear weapons capability. The debate intensified throughout the 2000s. Sanctions expanded, negotiations stalled, threats increased. Israel repeatedly warned that a nuclear-armed Iran would be unacceptable. American administrations faced growing pressure to respond. The world entered a dangerous period where diplomacy and military options competed for attention. American officials frequently stated all options remain on the table. The phrase became famous. To Washington, it signaled seriousness. To Tehran, it sounded like a threat of military action. Iranian officials responded with warnings of their own. Statements included warnings about regional retaliation, missiles responses, disruption of shipping routes, escalation across the Middle East. Both sides increasingly relied on deterrence. The anger was clear. Deterrence works until it doesn't. One of the world's most important waterways lies at the center of this conflict, the Strait of Hormuz. A significant percentage of global oil shipments pass through this narrow passage. Iran has repeatedly suggested that major military pressure could affect traffic through the strait. The United States has repeatedly emphasized freedom of navigation. Military vessels from multiple countries regularly operate in the area. Analysts warn that even limited disruption could have enormous consequences for global energy markets. This means the conflict affects far more just the Middle East. In 2015, a major breakthrough occurred. Iran and world powers reached the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, often called the Iran Nuclear Deal. Supporters argued the agreement reduced nuclear risks. Critics argued it was insufficient. For a brief period, tensions appeared to ease. Many hoped the agreement would create a pathway toward broader diplomacy, but the calm would not last. A dramatic shift occurred when the United States withdrew from the nuclear deal. The Trump administration launched a maximum pressure campaign. Sanctions intensified. Economic pressure increased. Iran's economy faced enormous challenges. Iran responded by gradually reducing some commitments associated with the agreement. The cycle of escalation resumed. Threats became frequent. Military deployments increased. The possibility of conflict once again dominated headlines. Several incidents involving oil tankers raised alarm throughout the international community. Ships were damaged. Accusations were exchanged. Investigations followed. The incidents highlighted how quickly tensions could affect the global markets. Oil traders watched nervously. Governments prepared contingency plans. The world began asking whether a larger confrontation was approaching. One of the most dramatic moments occurred when Iran shot down a US surveillance drone. Iran argued the drone violated its airspace. The United States disputed the claim. Reports indicated military responses were considered. The situation became one of the closest moments to direct military confrontation. Many observers feared war was imminent, yet both sides ultimately avoided full escalation for the moment. Everything changed in January 2020. A US drone strike killed Iranian General Qassem Soleimani near Baghdad airport. Soleimani was one of the most influential military figures in Iran. The strike shocked the world. Iran vowed revenge. Millions attended funeral events. Global media focused on a single question: would Iran retaliate? The answer came quickly. Iran launched missiles targeting bases housing American personnel in Iraq. The attack was unprecedented. For the first time, Iran openly launched a direct military response against US forces. The world waited anxiously. Would the United States retaliate again? Would the conflict spiral? Remarkably, both sides stepped back from the brink, but the hostility remained. Not all battles involve missiles. The US-Iran conflict increasingly includes cyber operations, Both countries have been linked by analysts and officials to cyber activities targeting infrastructure, institutions, and networks. Cyber warfare allows states to project power without traditional military confrontation, but it also creates uncertainty. A digital attack can trigger real-world consequences. This makes escalation harder to predict. No discussion of US-Iran tensions is complete without examining Israel. Israel views Iran as one of its most significant security challenges. Iran strongly opposes many Israeli policies. The shadow conflict between Israel and Iran has included airstrikes, assassinations, covert operations, cyber incidents, regional confrontations. Because of America's close alliance with Israel, developments involving Israel often influence US-Iran relations. A direct US-Iran war would not likely remain confined to two countries. Analysts fear it could involve regional armed groups, energy infrastructure, shipping routes, neighboring states, global markets, international alliances. The consequences could extend far beyond the Middle East. This is why every threat, every missile test, and every military deployment receives worldwide attention. For more than 4 decades, the United States and Iran have remained trapped in a cycle of distrust, threats, retaliation, and strategic competition. They have come dangerously close to direct conflict multiple times. Yet somehow, war has repeatedly been avoided. The question is whether that pattern will continue. Because in a region where one missile, one miscalculation, or one unexpected event can change history overnight, the next chapter of the US-Iran story has not yet been written, and the entire world may be watching when it is. If this documentary has been informative and educative, please subscribe, like, and share this video. I will see you in the next video.